It's just me and you.
Hey guys, Nandi here with another Dota 2 support hero guide. Today I want to take you through a guide to playing Position 5 Ancient Apparition. Having trouble with those pesky slugs, huskars or morphlings? Well, this hero solves most of your problems with just one spell. Also, during this video I'll be sharing one trick which I used to get a good ultimate off from Ancient Apparition. So watch till the end guys. Caldra or Ancient Apparition is usually played as a support and has a unique set of abilities that allow him to be relevant throughout the entire game. To begin with, let me tell you that Ancient Apparition does not have any instant disables like your typical Lions, Shadow Shamans or Ogre Magis. Let's go over his abilities and see where and when we can play him. Cold Feet is his first spell, and how it works is that it places a frozen hex on an enemy and does 90 damage to the enemy over a time period, and it will freeze the enemy for 4 seconds if the enemy does not move more than 715 units away from the initial cast point. The frozen hex is dispelled if the 715 unit threshold is broken. You might think, what a useless spell, right? I mean, it's just a matter of running back and the spell will wear off. Wrong. This is where Caldra's second and third spells come into play. I will go through his third spell before going through his second. You will understand why in a bit. His third spell, which is Chilling Touch, enhances Ancient Apparition's attacks with 170 additional magic damage, 240 bonus attack range for that particular attack, and 100% slow for 0.5 seconds at the maximum level of the spell. Personally, I prefer to max this in lanes where I need to harass a lot, especially against tanky enemies with high armor. Alright, let's move on to that second spell of his kit. Remember Cold Feet and how useless it felt because we couldn't keep the enemy in one place for it to proc? Well, Ice Vortex creates a small area of icy energy that slows for 30% and increases magic damage done to enemies by 30% in its range at the max level of this spell. So now we have the setup we need to potentially proc a 4-second stun with Cold Feet. Essentially, if you are laning with a core who already has a built-in disable, it's almost impossible to not proc Cold Feet and get a kill. Now let's talk about what Ancient Apparition is actually famous for. Ice Blast is his ultimate ability, and at its max level it is capable of doing 32 damage over 12 seconds, and if an enemy's HP falls below 14% of the total HP pool, then boom, he or she will shatter. And best of all, during this 12-second period, no health regen or healing effects will work on the enemy that have been hit by Ice Blast. And yes, this means no passive regeneration by skills like Shadow Dance or Berserker's Blood. Also, skills like Faceless Void's Time Walk and Attribute Shift of the Morphling becomes absolutely useless. Okay, so how do you lane with the Ancient Apparition? Usually, I prefer to max out Chilling Touch and Ice Vortex with 1 point in Cold Feet if my core hero is one of those early game killers. Chilling Touch allows you to harass the enemy from afar, and Ice Vortex doesn't necessarily disrupt the creep equilibrium. Another cool aspect of Ice Vortex is that it provides a small area of vision. So it could be useful if you want to go high ground with no vision, or for dewarding clips or locating enemies hiding in the trees. During the laning stage, I personally find 2 sets of tangos, windlays and mangoes, which obviously depends on the lane. If there is an offlaner who spams skills like a Bristleback or a Batrider, I opt for a magic stick first over the windlays. In this particular game, I went for a headdress as I figured we will need the extra regen as we will be facing off a Huskar. I usually buy brown boots and upgrade them into tranquil boots later on, and depending on the match, I sometimes opt for an urn. A special note on the Spirit Vessel after patch 7.26, as it provides an aura within 1200 units which reduces all health regen and healing. If there is no other hero who is building this item on your team, I think as an ancient apparition you should, as it now synchronizes really well with your ultimate. My next item of choice is usually a Glimmer Cape. This will allow me to dart in and out of fights, save myself and my allies if the situation gets too dicey. You can opt for items like Eul Scepter to purge silences or to kite, or even for counter initiation purposes. If your team is snowballing, you can directly go for a Rod of Atos, which again will allow you to set up for a Cold Feet stun. As Ancient Apparition, you will not be playing like a lion or shaman who would give a blink initiation or disrupt fights. Your main objective is to provide that key region breaking, heal denying Ice Blast. However, just imagine you spot an enemy channeling a spell or a hero who has to be stationary to cast a spell. You can take advantage of how your Cold Feet works and immobilize this enemy, or at least throw them out of position. Okay, so here's the tip which I was talking about in the beginning of the video. When team fighting, if you feel you are unable to take part in a fight or unable to be near the team fight, the best option for you to do is to move away from the fight as much as you can. Now you probably think I'm crazy, but believe me, this method has worked so many times for me. Okay, the reason why I'm telling you to move away from the fight is that then you will be able to conjure an Ice Blast with the bigger radius when compared with an Ice Blast you would produce closer to the fight. This way you'll be able to make sure at least one or more enemies are caught in your ulti. Your Ice Vortexes provide a great early game slow, plus the magic resistance reduction syncs really well with the heroes who can dish out a volley of magic damage. It's got a really long cast range, so use it for rune fights or to slow down fleeing enemies, or you can just use it to amp up the magic damage your team is doing. Alright, let's look at the talent tree for Ancient Apparition. At level 10, I usually select the magic damage amplification. As I am playing Ancient Apparition in the role of support, my thinking behind this choice is to amp up my spell damage even further. If you are however playing Ancient Apparition as a mid hero, you could opt for the plus 175 attack range on the Chilling Touch. At level 15, it is a choice between the plus 15 health regen or the minus 2.5 seconds cooldown reduction on the Ice Vortex. In this match however, I have selected the plus 15 health regen over the minus 25 cooldown reduction, as I thought this would allow me to stay relatively healthy in team fights with the passive regen from Tranquil Boots. At level 20, I have gone for plus 80 damage on the Chilling Touch in this match. This choice was made simply because our team started to do well and I was confident that I could stay alive in fights to inflict more damage. However, I would suggest that the minus 8% slow and resistance of the Ice Vortex would be a much better choice, and it would allow you to deal even more damage and slow enemies even further. Finally, my talent of choice at level 25 would almost always be the plus 5% Ice Blast kill threshold, as this means your enemies would shatter when they have 19% of health remaining if they get hit by the Ice Blast. So guys, that's pretty much it about this guide on playing support Ancient Apparition. A quick tip to anyone who wants to play Ancient Apparition would be to note that he is not one of those flashy supports who can blink in and disable an enemy or be in the thick of the team fight. As Ancient Apparition, you need to be able to hover around the team fight, reducing magic resistance and slowing down enemies. You also need to pay attention to enemy health levels and unleash that BKB piercing ulti of yours. You can use your ultimate to potentially start fights, but in my opinion it's an even better counter initiation tool. Alright everyone, that's it for this guide on playing support Ancient Apparition. I hope you enjoyed watching this and would be delighted to know whether you actually could take something out of this video. Please do comment down below what you think of this video and what I can do to improve it. Please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel for more content like this one. So guys, until I catch you again in the next one, it's GG, well played.
It's just me and you.